Miami to San Francisco for game one of the Western Conference Finals. Here we go.
You stuck frozen while I stay in motion. I'ma pass you up while you stop and smell the roses.
Nothing easy in there for Doncic. You can't defend it any better than that.
It absolutely is not right what Stephen Curry is doing here in game one.
And the Golden State Warriors have taken a one-game-to-none lead in the Western Conference Finals.
Hi, good morning. Happy Friday Eve, beautiful folks. I'm Christine Williamson in for Molly Kerr. I'm here on First Take, and my friend Jay Will is here with me. Good morning.
You ready for today?
I'm pretty excited about today. We got a lot of talk about, some basketball, a little NFL action. You're here with us all day. Monty McNutt over there in Miami holding it down. It's nice and sunny in Miami. You have the yellow on, looking good,
What
sis.
up, cuz?
Hey, Jay. I want to take this moment, though, Jay, because
Oh, no.
Christine never tells me when she's doing First Take. And so now that we're doing it together, like, this was the first time I found out. So our friendship, I don't know what's going on with our friendship right now.
I figured this would be a nice surprise. Good morning. You know, you're in Miami.
was.
Okay? You're living it up in Miami.
It's dark and cloudy here, by the way.
Exactly.
It looks
It's
very
raining
beautiful
outside
behind
over
you.
here. Okay? We'll talk about Miami very shortly.
But is it? What is it?
We'll talk about Miami very shortly, but we have to talk about last night because the Warriors took game one of the Western Conference Finals 112-87. Luka the Don had 20 points, but was 6 for 18 and 3 of 10 from deep. He had 7 turnovers, a huge testament to that Warriors defense and Andrew Wiggins. The Splash Brothers were hot in the second half. Steph Curry finished with 21 points, and all 15 of Klay's points were scored after halftime. I mentioned that Warriors defense. Warriors head coach Steve Kerr. How did you feel about it?
We did an excellent job defensively, but we're under no illusion that we've figured anything out. We just played really hard and competed and tried to contest shots.
They were doing a great job on me, especially in the second half. But I think I got to be better. That's not me. And as a leader, you know, I gotta be better for the whole group. So that's on me.
See the cut on Luka's face? That is Andrew Wiggins' finger that did that to him. I'm going to start with you, Jay Will, on this one. It was a little bit of a blowout last night in game one. Do you think the Mavs are going to be able to make this a series?
Yes. A couple things to address here, though. But one, it looked like Luka came out of a heavyweight fight.
Right.
I mean, damn. The game was so physical last night. That's exactly how you need to play if you're Golden State. But there's been a lot of conversations around Luka being a top 5 player in the league. And let me say this. If Luka is top 5 offensively, then Monica, he has to be bottom 5 defensively. I just got to state that off the top right now because watching him, there were so many times, and you notice, Monica, as a player, former player watching the game, when you see a guy get stripped and turns the ball over, and then the camera panels down to the other end, and you don't see that person literally come into the frame when he's the one that turned the ball over. As a former hooper, you're saying, yo, come on, man, you got to give me something. Now, I know that what he brings to the table offensively massively outweighs how deficient he is on the defensive end. But damn, that's number one. Number two, look, this team took 48 threes. They only made 11. In the first half, a lot of those threes were wide open threes. So as much as we're going to sit up here and praise Golden State for their defensive efforts, Monica, and I get it, Andrew Wiggins, he played his tail off defensively, stayed attached, was detail-oriented, stayed according to the scouting report. But at the end of the day, Luka typically makes shots that are challenging, difficult shots. So for me, if they're knocking down threes at a high clip, we're not talking about how great Golden State is defensively. We're talking about how they're shooting lights out. So, look, game one is a feel-out game. We all know this. I think Golden State is a good team. They're probably favorite in the series. But by no means do I count Dallas out of this series off one game. None.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Jay. And again, you cannot praise Andrew Wiggins enough for the way that he was able to defend Luka. But when you look at it in totality, he's able to stay that close to him because he knows he has tremendous support because, to your point, nobody could buy a three-point shot if you were wearing a Dallas Mavericks jersey. And so, to me, not only will Luka stop and survey and acknowledge the way that he's been played, his role players absolutely have to help him out, because then you force the Warriors defense to play it honest in terms of collapsing on him. There were a number of times we've gone over different clips in the tape, and you can see Dwight Powell setting a screen, or Jalen Brunson in the peripheral, or Dorian Finney-Smith. But because those guys could not get water from a water faucet, there was no reason to go out and contend them. Now, on the flip side, in terms of Dallas making this a series, Steph and Klay and the amount of action in the Warriors offense continues to be problematic, right? And Dorian Finney-Smith and Reggie Bullock are guys that you respect as defenders. But they just had to work so hard to stay attached to those guys because of the offense. And so I expect Jason Kidd to look at this thing in totality and make some adjustments. I know that Luka and the Mavs are one of the slower-paced teams in the league, and Luka likes to take his time and make it work. But they've got to figure out a way to get some easy baskets. I think back to the glimpses of Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson in the Jazz series at points during the Sun series. They have the talent to get out and get in transition a little bit and contend maybe with some of the Warriors' stifling defense. But I still think this is going to be a series, absolutely.
Monica, can I tell you, we always end up talking about, who is Dallas going to get? What is Mark Cuban going to do to bring another superstar into play with Luka Doncic? But I got to tell you, if I'm Reggie Bullock, if I'm Dodo, Dorian Finney-Smith, there are a lot of times throughout the course of a game, Jalen Brunson, I'm looking at this dude out the side of my eye and be like, yo, man, you are a liability. Like, you are killing us on the defensive end. And we're trying to execute. I understand, but it goes both ways, right? Because what he brings to the table, Monica, is incredible offensively. He's a genius. He's a savant. I love it. But there are times if you're executing, if you're out there, you're denying passing lanes, this back screen is coming, you actually play, and then you see him stand up, and he gets you beat because of the continuity, that exposes him more because you can't hide him in the defense. Whereas vice versa to a degree with Steph Curry when he's on Dorian Finney-Smith, they didn't involve him in a lot of action. Steph was just sitting in the corner, saving his legs offensively. So that's my thing. If you're taking away Luka's legs defensively by making him move with constant movement, that takes away from some of the energy and the pop he brings to the offensive end. I'm just trying, it may not be fair, but we all know life ain't fair. I'm still looking at him a little bit sideways if you can't give me some kind of effort defensively.
I might look at him sideways for 0.5 seconds, and I'm going to be like, nah, because that man keeps us afloat.
I ain't going to say nothing. I'm just thinking it. I'm thinking it.
I might think it, and then I'm going to say to myself, you know what? This is what it is to be a teammate. I'm going to be better on the defensive end for him because I know he carries me on the offensive end. But, Jay, you're right, Jay, but I think when we start talking about, and you've been talking about your top 5 today, talent and the ability to score covers a multitude of shortcomings. As much as you and I might get excited about defense, we don't have debates about top 5 defenders, and you can argue whether or not Dorian Finney-Smith, not so much Draymond, because Draymond has been highly touted and appreciated as a defender, Reggie Bullock, you can argue whether or not those guys have gotten their due, and I think part of the reason that the conversation is around Andrew Wiggins' defense last night is because we don't discuss him as a defender often, right? And so the reality of the league is the guys that make buckets, we're going to figure out everything else, and I will go back to some reporting that Cassidy Hubbard did in the Phoenix series where Jason Kidd talked to Luka about the 2 seconds. Like, we just need you to hold for a short enough amount of time that we can support you defensively as a team.
2 seconds. Just give me 2 seconds.
Just come on, get in that stance. Give it to me.
I'm going to keep it PG. All I'm saying is that
what?
Monica,
wait a minute, What? What is happening?
I'm going to say,
wait a minute.
Monica,
Let's bring it back. Come on, Christine, get it back on track.
I'm bringing it back. All I'm saying, though, is but we are talking about defense to a degree in this series, though, right? Because what we've done, the conversation has shifted. We're talking a lot about Jimmy Butler, right? People are saying, hey, he's a top 5 player in the league. I'm not saying he's my top 5 player in the league, but conversations are starting to trend in that direction. And what do you value about Jimmy Butler is that offensively, he's kind of went to a different level that we've seen in years past, right? His stats in the postseason are comparable to Michael Jordan in the single postseason, which is absurd. But what he brings to the table defensively, Jason Tatum, we're now calling him a top 2-way player. So I know what you're saying about we don't factor defense in as much as offense, but it is starting to trend as what kind of player are you on both sides of the court?
Okay, let's stay in the West.
Yeah.
We were talking about defense, obviously, and defense was huge for the Warriors. They didn't do anything crazy offensively. Monty, like you mentioned, their three-pointers. Steph missed his first 5 threes.